All right, so let's begin the journal 4, and we're going to create a hypotenuse program. So just a quick overview. The hypotenuse is the side of the triangle, that has the longest single side, and we'll use a formula that is a square root of the two sides squared and added together. So let's get started and do the approach as an incremental step, as you see it's mentioned there. So that means we're going to do it in stages. So we're going to go ahead and create a new Python REPL. You can use any other IDE for developing your Python program, but I'll be using replit.com, which is online and easy to access. Let's call this hypotenuse increment. Let me create this. All right, so the function hypotenuse is based on a math formula, and you're going to calculate that as best as you can, but you're going to do the function in stages. I'm going to outline the different stages, as you'll see me typing on the screen, and each stage will be correct with the syntax, and you will be able to run this separately. It won't solve the problem until you complete it in the final stage, and I've decided to use 3 stages or 3 steps as the increments for the function, and by the time you get to the final part, it will be a fully complete hypotenuse function that is working. So you'll be testing your function in each stage to make sure that each stage that you're doing, each step, is doing the correct calculation that you want it to do at that point. And when you move to the next stage, you do a test as well. So you always test as you do each stage to make sure that the function is being built correctly as you move along. You will notice in this video that I will have some errors when I try to run the program because I have spelled the variable names incorrectly. I did not remove those mistakes from the video, just so that you can see that if you have problems, it can be something simple as a spelling error that has caused your programming not to work. So check your spelling because it can be a common source of frustration. And also check how your function is indented and that your function calls start at the left margin. Alright, so as I mentioned, you will see me having some errors here because I was not spelling the variable names correctly. Sometimes you can make simple mistakes, especially if you're rushing, so always make sure to check the spelling. So once again, that's a reminder to check the spelling of the variable names that you are using. All right, so remember you must include two additional function calls as a way of testing your function. So you must include the one that is given you there with the numbers 3 and 4, and you add an additional two test cases to the program, as you'll see me doing another example. But I won't do all three of them, but I'll just do one more example to show you. If you want to remove the decimal part of the number and convert it to an int, you can use typecasting to do the return value C as an int. But that's totally up to you. It did not ask us to use an int or a float. It's just me showing another way that you could have the output formatted as an integer instead of a float. Okay, now on to part two of the program, where we just need to create our own or invent our own function that does some useful calculation. And I'm going to choose for this example a function that will calculate a person's age, based on whatever year they were born in. So we'll get the person's birth year, and because we're going to subtract it from the current year, 2022, it's going to tell us how old that person is. It's going to give us their age. So you can do something similar. So the idea is just to see how you design a function, how you create a syntax, but there are many other examples that you can use. You can create functions that find other mathematical answers, such as an average, the total of something. And I remember, because your variable names and your scenarios are going to be different. Some of you will use input statements. Some of you will use print statements, whatever you will use. It's even though you do a similar thing, it can still be different. So you can do something that calculates the average of some numbers. But the way that you calculate average and the way that their variables are spelled is different from somebody else. But still try to find unique examples, okay, that are not likely to be found on the internet. Alright, so pay special attention that if you want to print the return value of a function in the middle of a print statement string, you need to have commas that separate whatever you're printing from the function and the text that's in quotes. So if you want to use a similar example to mine, just remember that you need the commas to separate what's in the double quotes or your text string that will be printed on the screen, sorry, that's different from the return value that you're going to be printing. So I'm printing the return value of the calculate age in the middle of the string printing, so I need to use two commas on either side to separate them. So just be very careful when you're using the print statement that you put commas where you need to and you put quotation marks where you need to. Now here I'm sharing with you some other ideas you can use for programs, and it's not limited to any of these, right? Just to show you that you can do so many things. Just think of any useful thing you can do in math. You can calculate average, you can calculate profit or loss. Just be creative of whatever you want to use it for. You can calculate wages, so many things. So don't think that because somebody else might use addition, you can't use addition too. You can use addition for so many things. Maybe you want to count how many persons are in a class, how many bottles are inside a fridge, anything you can do that involves a useful calculation. So all the best, be creative, please do not plagiarize. If this video has helped you, please give it a like and please share it with someone else. Since you have learned freely from this video, I do hope that you will share it freely with someone else. And please subscribe if you have not yet, and all the best with your studies.